as I said, I think as good as a performer Beyonce is, as I said, when I see her on stage, I'm always impressed by what she's done as a performer. But I probably would wait and watch if she could even compete with Janet. Forget Michael. I mean, even because when you think about how Janet was during her River Nation, her Control,
right,
Velvet Rope, all when she was on tour and stage, and how she tore things up. I think the only thing that you'd always talk about Beyonce is that she maintains her vocals when she's performing. And I wouldn't say it's.
I done seen Beyonce lip sync a few times.
Okay.
But,
okay, that's
so,
good.
but she does perform live.
Yeah. But then again, I've only noticed this on televised stuff, so it's probably a little bit different when you go on tour. When you're televised, some people tend to lip sync. Some people tend to say, "Look, let's." I think Michael and Janet, their focus was on the entertainment, and so they focus on, I'm not going to focus too much on the sing because I want people to be entertained with the performance. But if you saw when he's on tour, on concert, he would sing live when he needed to and stuff like that. But
who are we talking about now?
I'm just talking about Michael, yeah. But Michael.
Oh, Michael. Okay.
But when you mentioned about Beyonce lip sync, and I said I've not noticed it.
Well, as a performance, there are certain songs you're going to need to have some backing vocals while you're performing it. I mean, if it's a high energy number or something, because you want to be able to perform the dance part of it, but you want to give your audience quality vocals that they can hear. So it's a little art to it, like I said. But I mean, I think a lot of artists actually do that. Not throughout the show, but they'll have backing vocals on certain tracks. It's kind of an industry secret. It's not really to say that they can't sing. It just means that sometimes you have, you're giving yourself, your vocals, a break. Or the routine is very high energy.
Yeah, well, no, that's good. As I said, I've always been impressed by Beyonce, but I think her husband's comments were very strange, to say the least. It's like saying that if you can't come and sing at my son's high school, you're not a great entertainer, kind of thing.
Right. Well, let's get into this verses though, because you did bring up Janet, and you said, why aren't people putting, her up against Beyonce? Which I understand. Like, Janet has there's no reason to be putting Janet up against Prince. There is absolutely no way he would completely slay her. Michael, there's absolutely no way. But somebody like Beyonce, I could see people trying to compare the two. I personally think that Beyonce is a better performer. I like Janet. A lot of her stuff is choreography and stuff like that. I like people that can break out and do just random things. That's why I like artists like Chris Brown. He's not. I mean, it's choreography, but it's also freestyle.
It looks like.
Yeah, I like that. That to me is a performer. And I'm not saying that Janet has never done that or doesn't do it, but it's very structured and choreographed. Kind of like Paula Abdul. I like spontaneous movements and things like that. But anyway, vocally, Beyonce slays, Janet. And as far as the hits, now that's where Beyonce's going to have a problem, because Janet has hits, and
Janet is in the top 5 of number ones on the chart. Yeah. I mean, only Rihanna and Mariah Carey.
And that's what I'm saying. Beyonce couldn't even take Rihanna if it was this. We have to go back to this, because you're talking about this another episode, because you were talking about who would go on stage with Jay-Z. But when you look at what Versus is, it's putting hits next to hits. It's not putting influence next to hits. It's not putting, how deep and how complex your rap skills is, or how great your singing voice is. That's not what Versus is. Versus is flat hits. What songs do people like? Yes. And so Beyonce, I like a lot of Beyonce songs, but some of them don't stand the test of time. Janet, well, go ahead.
Would Beyonce have 10? I mean, forget 20. I'm thinking 10. Forget Destiny's Child just on her own.
She's gonna add Destiny's Child, but go ahead.
Okay.
But no, yeah. Does she have them on her own? Is your question?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, the Sasha stuff, that was my favorite. That's the only album I've had of Beyonce, and it's probably the only. And then her first album, Dangerously in Love, had sort of her breakout stuff. You know, taking the A. Marie's production and style and everything.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm upset about how that's, you know, if people don't know, A. Marie style was that the whole fast go kind of singing. Beyonce's on Sony. Rich Harrison, who was Anne-Marie's writer and producer, got poached by Beyonce to work from Anne-Marie to work A-Marie to work on Beyonce. And then, you know what, Sony had to push one of the two and push Beyonce above A-Marie. And sadly, A-Marie, her career just disappeared from there. She had to go out. She looked for Teddy and others to do stuff, but it didn't have the same impact or promotion.
Right.
And while Beyonce flourished. So I'm always upset about that. But when I think of hits, I can't name 10 Beyonce solo hits that she can have against Rihanna, not to forget Janet, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it goes to, like I said, marketing, PR, publicity. People, like, you know, once you solidified a certain name, people stop questioning the numbers. They stop questioning the stats. They stop questioning, just like with Jay-Z. We just assume Jay-Z must have had, you know, at least 5 #1 singles, right? Go look. You know, but nobody does that because they're so used to hearing, oh, greatest of all time are these people, you know. So yeah, with Beyonce and Janet, I would love to see that. You know, I would personally feel like Janet would be going up against a Madonna, to me, and if in terms of
that seems like a
because
match.
Beyonce is nowhere near. I mean, I just hate to say that. I do like Beyonce, and I do think she's a better performer. But I just think that, you know, she's gotten a little ahead of herself. Make that finish out your legacy. Let's make some more hits, because these last couple of albums, I can't even remember the singles. Like, you got to get back into making hits, Beyonce. You just selling records on your name now. Beyonce got a new album out, and she dropped it at midnight. Let's go buy it. That's the gimmick you doing. You ain't got no hit.
Yeah, and nothing's on the radio. And they're more musical. They should kind of musical.
When is the last time you heard "Drunk"? When is the last time you heard "Drunk in Love" randomly on the radio? So, like I said, Beyonce, where the hits, girl. So
I know, and I think they've you know, they've got a very big PR machine, because the sense of Queen Bee, you know, so she's the queen. So even when she, I remember when she did the Lion King, and there's a guy called not John Stewart. He has a show called Later with, I think he's John Oliver. He's a British guy who has a talk show on HBO, and he was saying that all the cast came for a picture, and they photoshopped Beyonce in. You know, she didn't even show up, so that sense of she's so big and powerful and stuff. And I think that's been crafted, that sense of, you know, how Prince used to hardly show up, or he's been given a Lifetime Achievement Award and he's supposed to perform, but he doesn't perform because I'm Prince, kind of thing. And I think that's something that they've tried to, we don't hear from her now. She doesn't say anything. And, you know, maybe next week comes out an album and it's like, oh, big deal kind of thing. So that, you know, and I do remember when you did talk about, you know, Jay-Z saying and I said he was bigger than Versus from his point of view, because he would think, why would I put myself on a platform? Because if I put myself on that platform, I'm almost subject to, you know, are they going to pay me to do this? You know, how much can they pay me? And I'm promoting their platform instead of my platform. So that's how he's thinking. But whether, you know, can you imagine him going against KRS-One? lyric for lyric, because he's talking about,
You don't want that battle.
Well, yeah. So,
For different reasons. For different reasons. Obviously,
yeah.
KRS-One is not big enough, but I just don't want him. He don't want that lyrical
yeah, he couldn't. Yeah, he
acclaim
couldn't.
that to come under scrutiny like that. So
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
When you think about it, no. As
Mm.
much as I respected Beyonce, but she's not had. I think Destiny's Child have more hits than Beyonce. And she's had, but I don't know. I mean, I know most of the Destiny's Child's hits, but as I said,
now if she adds in Destiny Child, that's the thing. Like, she was involved in that. Now we can't take that from her. She did, she was pretty much the driving force behind her. She and her dad were the driving force behind Destiny Child. So she does have every right to use the Destiny Child material. I mean, but I just think, is that fair? I don't know, but.
Yeah, but then so because then we're talking about Destiny Child as because as I said, I don't mind if you're using Destiny Child stuff, but then you're now saying that actually I was better off with Destiny Child than when I was on my own, because our sound was different and our music was more appreciated. We sold more records, we did more things. Destiny Child has outsold Beyonce by 3-1, and so you start to question, she puts on great shows and stuff, but anyway, as I said, she probably could go up against Rihanna, and that would be an interesting sort of singing and performance and stuff like that. It'd be interesting type of thing. Janet against Madonna would be really interesting, just because they've got the legacy hits from the 80s, 90s, and they've got the materials and stuff, and they're both actually in the top 5 when it comes to Billboard's #1s and tracks on that have charted and stuff like that. So
right. I think it's interesting because they both were hot in the 80s, and Janet was more hot in the 90s, and Madonna was more hot in the 2000s. So I would love to see just the overall versus battle, because now, like I said, unfortunately Janet had the whole scandal with the Justin Timberlake reveal, wardrobe malfunction, that kind of took her career in a downward spiral. But who knows what her career would have been. But that's more, to me, a more equal pairing than Beyonce and Janet. Beyonce still, she doesn't have the legacy and the legacy of hits and the time in the game to be going up against the Janet. So
yeah, at least she still has done Coachella, so we'll give it that. Okay. Thanks again for watching, guys.
And before we go, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
Yeah, and also remember to turn on the notification so you can know when we have another show. But thanks again.
That too.